Whatever rocks your socks, whatever spins your top, whatever winds your watch, whatever flips your flop, whatever turns you on, whatever flies your flag, whatever bangs your gong, or whatever swings your bag. Do it often, but do it well, 'cause nobody knows and there's no way to tell when the ride ends.
Good morning. Welcome back to Turtle Beach. I'm glad you're here. Thank you very much for coming. You know, I talk all the time about how Turtle Beach in 18 months has made me a calmer, saner, more humane person. And all that's true. But at the same time, I'm still Steve Rosse with all the tics and quirks and foibles that Steve Rosse has. And insomnia in times of stress is one of Steve's tics. That's my house back there, isn't it? That's my house. There it is. Yeah, I'm still Steve Rosse, and that means that if I've got something important coming up on a Friday morning, Thursday night, I'll wake up at midnight and just stay awake. It's 3 o'clock now. Been awake since midnight. I'm not going to go back to sleep. I can tell. I might as well make some coffee. Spend more time surfing the web, huh? So I'm out in the street in front of my house. Yeah, it's Turtle Beach. You can stand in the street in front of your house at 3 o'clock in the morning and not have to worry about anybody coming along and hitting you. And out there is the sea, and look, a squid boat. There's a squid boat. There's another one. The stars are really beautiful if you get out from under these lights and you go out on the greensward. The stars are really beautiful here. This camera won't pick them up, obviously. Today I want to answer viewer mail. Just 2 letters. Don't worry, not a lot. But they're interesting letters. They gave me a lot of joy, both of them, to read them. I think they're both funny as hell. I got my first audience feedback, not counting, you know, being in a high school play or something, and your mom claps when you come out on stage. But as a writer, I'm not the only one still up. Look at that. People are up and hanging out at Tian's place. I don't know if you can see it. He's got a bungalow back there. Anyway. So I sold a story in 1980, the first story I ever sold, first piece of writing I ever got paid for. It was a story called Smiley. It was a piece of short fiction that I had written in a fiction class as an undergrad. I sold it to Rod Serling's Twilight Zone magazine, which was a thing in 1980. And they paid me $100 for it. I was very, very pleased, and that launched what small writing career I had as a young man. And about 2 weeks after it appeared in the magazine, the editor called me up, and he's just livid. He's furious. He's furious with me. Now, in this story, there's 2 characters. One is my grandfather. The other one is a guy named Smiley, who was a developmentally disabled man who lived in Iowa City in the 70s. And he would go downtown. He had a job. I think he worked in housekeeping or food service. But he had the mentality of about a 3 or 4-year-old kid. And he would go downtown after work with a Polaroid camera, and he would take pictures of pretty co-eds at the University of Iowa. He'd approach them in the street and say, can I take your picture? And in the 70s, it was a mark of honor for a woman to be pretty enough that Smiley would accost her in the street and ask to take her photograph. Now, it's a very different world now. But back then, women were taught to be compliant and always smiling and pleasant company. And so typically these young women would be happy to pose for him. And his room, he lived at some sort of managed care facility, and the local newspaper liked to do stories about him. He had plastered the walls of his room completely full with Polaroids of pretty young women at the University of Iowa. So I made Smiley a character. It's Smiley comes into my grandpa's store. And somebody in Iowa City had read this, and they had Xerox. They'd gone to the library, and they got an old article off microfiche, and they copied it, and they sent it to the magazine and said, look, this is a real guy named Smiley. And you're publishing a story where he's a character in a science fiction story, and he's got these powers with his Polaroid. He had the power to make women pregnant with his Polaroid camera. And the editor called me up, absolutely furious. Yeah, the dogs, can you hear that? Yeah, they're way down there. Oh, but they're loud. Anyway, the editor was furious with me. He said, we'll never publish you again. And he was right, they never did. But my point is that that very first fan letter or hate letter, whatever it was, pointing out Steve got it wrong letter, reminded me after 4 years of college that, or not reminded me, but informed me for the first time, there are rules. If you're creative and you draw a sketch of somebody who's a real person and they're recognizable in that sketch, there are rules about how you treat that. And do you need to ask permission first? Fishermen coming back with their catch. What day? Kundram. I don't think that guy ever sleeps. He sells fish out here all day and he goes out and fishes all night. Kundram. I think it's umbrella. Maybe it's wind. Anyway, there are rules. Now the rule in graduate school, they finally taught me that for creative nonfiction, the rule is you can say anything you want about people if their stories are part of your life. That's your story. But you can't add anything. You can't lie. You can't make anything up. You can leave shit out in the interest of telling a compelling narrative, but you can't make any shit up in creative nonfiction. Now, this was fiction in which I put two people, described them in detail, and called them by name. It was completely wrong. It was illegal. I'm lucky I didn't get sued. I'm lucky that magazine didn't sue me. But it taught me, you pay attention. Hate mail, fan mail, man. Everybody's got something to teach you. You pay attention. So I do. I read every single comment on this channel and on Grumpy Old Men. But we're getting so many, I no longer have time to respond to all of them. And I apologize. If I do respond, it seems that I only respond to the shitheads and not to the very nice people who say very nice things. I read that and I smile, I give it a thumbs up, and then move on. And I don't respond. There's just too much at this point. So I want to say thank you to the people who say nice things and to the people who enjoy the channel. I'm glad you enjoy it. Thank you for your attention. Like, subscribe, and share. But I want you to know I read everything, every comment, and used to get, you know, when I wrote for the newspapers, people actually, there was no internet. You had to actually put your comments on paper, put it in an envelope, lick it, and stick a stamp on it, and put it in the mail. And sign your name to it, because the newspaper would ignore it if you didn't have a name and phone number attached. Not like today, where you can be, you know, loves pussy 69 and say whatever you want, and there are no consequences or repercussions. At any rate, that's why we're reading viewer mail today. Two people wrote, I think, very interesting letters, and I'm going to share them with you. However, I have to go inside to do that, so we're going to leave the street now. You know, I've been walking back and forth in front of the same street light for what, 8 minutes. It's weird. I can't tell where I am best lit. It seems to be different lighting every time I get to the same. Anyway, it's weird. What do you want? It's 3 a.m. There's a big, beautiful beach over there, which is pitch dark. There's beautiful stars out. We're going to go inside and read hate mail. Come with me now. Boontong Studio. Studios, I guess. There's a plastic arts component and there's a video component. So I suppose that's 2 studios. There's a lot of beautiful light in here during the day. Not at the moment, I'm afraid. By now, do I still have to apologize for all this camera stuff because I don't want to edit? Or are you okay with that by now? Oh, I'm gonna turn on the fan. Hang on. All right. Let's read viewer mail. Yeah. Oh, that's just terrible, isn't it? That's a little better, maybe? Yeah, well, maybe I should have tried this first. All right. So I got to read these off the monitor because I'm using the phone to shoot. You're being very patient. If you're still here, thank you very much. You're forgiving me for a lot of stuff tonight. All right. The first one, where did he send it to me? I should have had these keyed up before I tried this, huh? All right. The first one comes from Danny Ho. Danny Ho comments 5-6 times on every video. Danny Ho says, so I got this friend who lives in Phuket, and Danny, for some reason, is intentionally misspelling words and leaving out punctuation in this. I think the first clue this is catfishing, that he's trying to get my goat, is that I know he can spell the word Phuket, and he intentionally misspells it. So I got this friend who lives in Phuket, an old high school buddy, ex-Air Force pilot, who wants to organize some mini full moon rave type parties up in Turtle Beach, like a 3 days festival with everyone camping out and stuff. He's got an email list of like 3K people that are interested. So I was wondering if Steve would want to get involved with this and make some extra cash as well. I don't know why everybody thinks I want to make extra cash. I got plenty of money, Danny Ho. Looks like your neighbor has a little empty space that can fit maybe 50 tents or so, possibly $50 a head. Let me know if you want to get involved. Steve and the organization of this event. The whole thing is slated to take place April 24th on beautiful Turtle Beach. April 24th is a Wednesday. Do you throw a wave on a Wednesday? All right, so it's obvious catfishing, right? From the misspelling of words to the saying, hey, how about we put 50 tents full of raving farang right outside Steve's kitchen window? Yeah, it's not going to happen. In order to have done that, you would have had to have your applications into the AMPU a year in advance. They work very slowly here. You would have had to apply for it last April. It's right after Songkran. They're not going to want another big event on this beach the week after Songkran, 2 weeks after Songkran. Where are all these people shitting and pissing? Where? They're not coming to my house. Where do you think these 50 tents of people who are raving, we assume that's taking drugs, having sex, playing music real loud, 24/7. I don't know. I've never been to a rave. But anyway, everything about it is stinky. But it's attention. Danny Ho, whoever is hiding behind this name and this avatar, has put thought into this. The thought was, how do I get Steve's goat? But it was thought. It was attention. He was thinking about me. Thank you, Danny. I'm going to move the camera around here for this other one so it's easier to read off the screen. There is a man in Bangkok named John Gartland. He's a British fella. He's an academic. His career was in academia. He's taught English in a variety of international schools and universities, I mean. And where does Steve go to find that post? Thailand Expat Writers List. If you're interested at all in books and writing about Thailand, the Thailand Expat Writers List Facebook take two is there we go. Is a good place to go. So this was posted there. John got angry at me. John, being an old academic, like any academic, he doesn't like criticism. He does not take criticism well or at all. So he posted one of his brilliant, beautiful poems that I thought was ruined by the injection of politics. Unnecessary, dumb politics. And I said, it screws up the art, man. Oh, John, I love you like a brother, but you got to grow a thicker skin, dude. You spent your whole life in rooms where people had to sit and listen to you and they could not respond, particularly critically. And, you know, there's time left, John. There's time left to learn how to, accept constructive criticism. But this is one great way to do it. He wrote a poem about me. So catch this. Barnacle Beach / footnote. Even in your decay, you have lessons to teach, a whisperer to empty shells and slimy things along the ocean's reach. That wasted past upon your backs an unforgiving leech. Now you claim to shun all company, but serialize your vanity, acting out a YouTube castaway to star on Barnacle Beach. But in all your decay and this shallow display, and though a bad actor, you've lessons to teach. You squandered whole decades, now lost beyond reach, a fate grimly instructive, pre-Barnacle Beach. Years of insane banality and dishonest speech have delivered you to your true home, a salutary circus act, at last washed up, marooned alone, and doffing a Stetson, upstaging the jetsam on Barnacle Beach. This is no Walden, and you are no Thoreau. You boast your happiest days were spent as a PR gigolo. And superficial to the last, you patronize the local cast by brandishing an iPhone now in every face you go. Quote, I salvaged this ego from the wreck. Now, beached, I do it my way. Just call me Robinson Barnacle, and I will call you Friday. All right. Allow me 18 minutes, please. Allow me a little dramaturgy. Allow me to parse this, since I am the subject. I am the Grecian urn who has been odicized. Even in your decay, you have lessons to teach. Thank you, John. I don't know if I have lessons to teach. I tell stories. That's all I do. Sometimes the stories illustrate things that I believe are true about the world. A whisperer to empty shells and slimy things along the ocean's reach. I don't know if that's doggerel, iambic pentameter. I don't know. I'm not going to go look it up. It sounds like a march. A whisperer to empty shells and slimy things along the ocean's reach. Sounds like a march, doesn't it? That wasted past upon your backs an unforgiving leech. Well, it wasn't wasted. I raised two beautiful, healthy, successful children. And I paid enough money into Social Security that now I can live here very comfortably on my pension. It wasn't wasted. It was very difficult. But my past was not wasted, John. Now you claim to shun all company. Yes, I do. I came here because I don't have to talk to people. But serialize your vanity, acting out a YouTube castaway to star on Barnacle Beach. So he's saying you're pretending to be an introvert, but every Friday you're on YouTube and every Sunday, and you're seeking attention on YouTube while saying, I just want to be alone. Got me there, John. Yup. Yeah. But in all your decay and this shallow display, which if you're still watching, thank you. And though a bad actor, you've lessons to teach. Well, John witnessed me deliver the dagger speech from the Scottish play from a stage in a very low-rent brothel in Bangkok on Pat Pong called the Rosse. It's not there anymore. Oh, that place was a dump, and I loved it. And me and John, if I ever got to Bangkok, we'd spend hours in the Rosse. And one night I got up on stage and I used my degree and I gave the dagger speech from the Scottish play. And yeah, I'm not a good actor. My turn as Mr. Fezziwig in A Christmas Carol was laughable. It's supposed to be, but it was laughable for the wrong reasons. But yeah, John saw me act badly. I've never been paid to act. I was a great prop man for 10 years in the New York City film industry. I've done dozens and dozens of plays, and I have got up on stage in community theater where they'll take anybody. But no, I'm a bad actor, yeah. And, I thought, John might appreciate it in that venue. I thought a little Shakespeare in that venue might be a hoot, but apparently John suffered watching my oration. Sorry, John, you could have said, shut up. I'd have shut up. And though a bad actor, you've lessons to teach. So he softens it. He does that, sticks the hand out and punches you in the face. He does that give a little, take a lot kind of thing. You're a bad actor, but you say some pithy things now and then. You squandered whole decades and lost beyond reach. They weren't squandered. I raised 2 kids, John. Read my book. A fate grimly instructive, yes. Pre-Barnacle Beach, yes. Years of insane banality, yes. Iowa City, Iowa is not thrilling. A cubicle in a windowless room in the basement of a hospital is not thrilling. Yeah, decades of that. Yeah. Insane banality. Isn't that wonderful? Insane, something frantic, something hectic, and banality, something mild and blech. Insane banality. It's beautiful. There's a tension between those 2 words at the end or at the beginning of a new stanza. And dishonest speech. No, I don't lie, John. That's the rule in creative nonfiction. You can't make anything up. You can leave shit out, and I do. I don't lie, John. I hate liars. My father was a pathological liar, a compulsive liar. And no, I don't lie, John. I tell the exciting bits. I don't tell stories of the dull bits. I pick out the exciting bits. Everybody's got enough exciting bits in their life to make a book, right? You just have to pick out the exciting bits, tell those, and then people say, come on, you're making that up. No. And if you knew how to tell a story, you wouldn't have to make anything up either. And dishonest speech have delivered you to your true home. Yes, thank you, John. A salutary circus act. I think I read that as salutary the first time. A salutary circus act. I'm not sure about that. At last, washed up, yes, marooned alone, no, alone by choice, and doffing his Stetson, because I came from El Paso, Texas, New Mexico. I think that's a cowboy reference. I think that's what, as much as John knows about cowboys, upstaging the Jetsam on Barnacle Beach. This is no Walden, and you are no Thoreau. Well, I'm by the water, but yeah, you're right. This is not Walden, and I'm no Thoreau. You boast your happiest days were spent as a PR gigolo. Yes, PR manager for the Boathouse. 3.5 years, maybe. Great years. Love that job. Love that job. I'm sad to this day I screwed that up and got my ass fired or quit. We're still not sure what happened. Either I quit or I got fired. But yeah, those were great days. I'd be a PR gigolo again in a heartbeat. And superficial to the last. Superficial, dude. The most common criticism is, Steve, TMI, too much information. I talk about my prostate glands. I talk about my bowel movements. I talk about absolutely everything, John. I go very, very deep. You find another YouTuber in Thailand who exposes themselves as fearlessly as I do. It's not fearless in my case because I can't help it. It's a compulsion. I can't control it. But I am not superficial, John. I go deep. I go deep, dude. Just because you put yours in meter, foot and meter, doesn't make it more profound than prose. Allow me. And you are no Thoreau. You boast your happiest days were spent as a PR gigolo. And superficial to the last, you patronize the local cast by brandishing an iPhone now in every face you go. I typically don't take the phone when I leave the house. John, I do this. You think I share the spotlight? Have you ever seen another face on this channel? No, I don't, John, but last time I met John, it was for Dean Barrett's 80th birthday, and we were hanging out in the Rosse, and I said, let me take your picture, or let me get a video of you wishing Dean Barrett a happy birthday. And I don't know what John's on the run from. Interpol, ex-wife, I don't know. Maybe his visa's expired. But John doesn't like to be photographed, so he put on a disguise and let me videotape him giving Dean Barrett a happy birthday gift. So I think he was not happy with me putting the phone in his face. But John, I don't patronize the local cast. Where's my co-stars? I don't take the iPhone. Typically, I don't know where it is in the house, and typically the battery's dead. I have to recharge it to film one of these monologues. Last stanza, quote. So this is Steve speaking through John's pen. I salvaged this ego from the wreck. That's beautiful and true. Yeah. Now, beached, I do it my way. True. Just call me Robinson Barnacle, and I will call you Friday. Right over my head. I have no idea what that means. It doesn't seem to fit the meter. Robinson Barnacle is an unsonorous pair of words. And I will call you Friday. That Victorian Brit was so lonely, he became friends with a black man. I mean, that's how lonely he was. He befriended a man that he would have spit on back in London. I know, Chamnan comes over and visits, but I don't have a Friday. I don't want a Friday. I'm not lonely. The only lonely time I ever spent in my life was I shared a bed for 10 years with a woman who hated my guts. And that's loneliness. And I will never, ever put myself in a position to experience that again. But no, I'm an only child of a single parent. I was in 7 schools by the 7th grade. I've been alone a lot. I like it. Or at least it feels normal to me. To be alone feels very normal to me. That being said, and that's it for John. Thank you, John. I really appreciate the attention. And dude, you're witty and you're clever. You just got to stop using your poems to attack things and people you don't like. That's not art, dude. That's petty and it's beneath you. Now, as far as a rave, here, listen. I'm not interested in anything rave-like or rave-essent. But you want to do an arts festival here? You want to put on Shakespeare in the park? I'm sure we could get the permits for that. His Majesty Rama VI translated Hamlet and Merchant of Venice into Thai. We could get local actors and stage out there Shakespeare in the park. We could have an artist salon. We could just have a bunch of artists sitting around drinking coffee and wine and talking about art. Get a sculptor in there, a dancer in there, a writer in there, a painter in there, a video guy in there, and just sit around, spend a weekend reading each other's work, looking at each other's paintings in progress, building things out of lighters. I got like 10,000 lighters here. Need a mosaic artist to make them into something. I made my turtle. I'm done. And I've got thousands and thousands and thousands of lighters still here, ready to use. Anyway, anybody wants to put on anything arts related, anything quiet, anything that doesn't have 50 tents full of people asking to use my bathroom, yeah, that'd be great. I would throw the full weight of my influencer status behind that. All right, that's it. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and share. I'm going to go make a pot of coffee. It's almost 4 o'clock. Gonna make coffee. I'm up. Thank you for watching. There's nothing else except know, as always, that I love you very much, and I very much appreciate you spending this time with me. This is the most important day of my week, probably why sometimes these are made at 3 a.m, because I don't sleep before important events. And that's it. You have a terrific week. I will see you next Friday.
Whatever shaves your sheep, whatever bakes your lamb, whatever digs your peak, whatever smokes your ham, whatever blows your nose, whatever chews your bone, whatever squirts your hose, whatever sings your song. Do it often, but do it well. Nobody knows and there's no way to tell. When you're riding, it's that you be doing down, shoot down to that